one of mankind's ultimate taboos. But what would it take to kill and devour another human being? My name is Piers Gibbon. I'm an author and explorer, and I'm heading deep into the jungles of Papua New Guinea to find out. I'm going to search for the truth about cannibalism from the people that have actually done it.
Does that mean there are people alive in this village who have eaten people?
Yes.
I want to know who they killed and why.
Did they ever hunt and kill someone just for meat?
Discover how they butchered and ate their victims.
This is exactly what they would have used to cut up a human.
And find out if there are still people practicing cannibalism today.
They killed 2 men.
People killed by the B Army?
Yeah.
This is this year?
This year.
Cannibals don't just come from remote jungles and desert islands. They also come from England. I'm in Gough's Cave, near the village of Cheddar, where evidence supports the belief that cannibalism was once commonplace throughout the world.
Discovered in 1987, and dating back some 14,000 years, was a collection of discarded animal bones. And as expected, the animal bones show the marks where the meat has been cut away for human consumption. But what shocked scientists, however, was that human remains were found here too. And those bones also showed the same marks from the flesh-cutting tools. And this is a replica of part of a skull of one of a number of people who were stripped of their flesh and then eaten in these caves.
But I want to find people alive today that have practiced cannibalism. So I'm traveling to the other side of the world. Some of the most recent accounts of cannibal activity come from tribal populations on the island of New Guinea. The island sits just north of the Australian continent and holds some of the least explored areas of the world. I'm heading to Papua New Guinea, the eastern half of the island, to begin my journey. Papua New Guinea is one of the poorest countries in the world and suffers from a very high crime rate, particularly in towns and cities. The cultural diversity is immense, with over 800 languages being spoken across the country. I want to travel to the island's interior to find indigenous groups that have practiced cannibalism. But first, I need to look into the country's past. In the mid-20th century, Papua New Guinea was under Australian rule. Government patrols, led by officers known as kiaps, explored the country's interior. What they found was a cultural time capsule. Reports came back describing groups of people still living in the Stone Age. And patrols also reported coming into contact with cannibals. These reports are still kept in the National Archives. I'm hoping they'll lead me to the territories where people practiced cannibalism.
So as well as setting up outposts in remote regions, the kiaps were also given orders to make arrests for some pretty horrendous crimes. And this is a 3-day Western District patrol to investigate alleged unlawful killing and cannibalization. It's interesting because he says the motivation for the cannibalization seems to have been associated with a gross form of insult on the victim.
Many of the reports involving cannibalism come from outposts in the remote region of the Western Province, so that's where I'll head next. My journey takes me nearly 500 miles into the heart of Papua New Guinea's rainforest. The thick jungle and mountainous terrain has kept many of the pocketed communities isolated. Between the 1940s and 60s, a patchwork of airstrips were built to make it possible to move around the vast wilderness. The frontier town of Kionga will be my first stop. This will be my last chance to pick up supplies before heading deeper in.
Where we're going, there's no shops, obviously, so we have to take absolutely everything that we need. So we have water, we have food, we have cameras, we have power for cameras. We're carrying a generator, so all we need now is to see whether it'll all go on this plane.
East of Kionga is one of the last regions contacted by the Australian patrols. Due to tribal fighting and widespread cannibalism, it remained a restricted area to outsiders until 1969. Even today, outbreaks of fighting have created a number of no-go areas across Papua New Guinea. But I've been told about an airstrip situated in a relatively peaceful region, where surrounding villages may have practiced cannibalism in the past. Before Honenabe airstrip was built some 40 years ago, the area had virtually no contact with the outside world. To an outsider like me, it still feels very isolated. The nearest telephone is 3 days' walk away. In the nearby village of Soriobi, I'm hoping to find a translator.
Afternoon. Hello. It's Ben. Afternoon.
Who's Benny? Benny?
Here.
Benny, I hear you understand English?
Yes.
You speak English?
Yes.
That's really good news. Is it okay if I stay here for a few days?
Yes.
Really?
Really?
Thank you very much indeed.
Benny is part of a local Bible translation group and agrees to be my guide. The people of Soriobi and the surrounding villages are known as the Samo. They get by without electricity or running water and are still very much reliant on the jungle for basic resources. The Samo survive on a minimal amount of food. In a nearby swamp, I'm shown how they extract their dietary staple of sago from the sago palm. I'm hoping to also learn about any cannibalism that occurred in the area.
One question, and it's a little delicate, but I wondered about the old days. Is an old practice of cannibalism, of eating people. Is it okay to ask people about that?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
You okay with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, it's a difficult subject, but I wanted to know, does that still happen?
I don't think at this time.
Right.
But in the old days, yes.
In this village?
In this village, all the villages.
All the villages?
All the villages.
In this area?
In this area.
Does that mean there are people alive in this village who have eaten people?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible to talk to them? Is it something they will talk about?
It is possible.
It is possible?
Yeah.
Fortunately, the topic of cannibalism doesn't seem taboo.
Benny's just taking me to meet some of the village elders, so I think I'm about to meet, for the first time, people who were involved in the practice of cannibalism.
What I'm particularly interested to find out is whether cannibalism occurred here out of survival or if it had some ritualistic meaning behind it. I can't help but feel a little shocked about what I'm hearing. I want to know why the woman was killed in the first place. The Samo have long believed in sorcery and evil spirits. Capturing suspected magic men or women is one of the reasons they give for killing and eating people in the past. But it was also a form of revenge.
Okay.
It's not every day someone describes to you their involvement in killing and eating two women. And did he enjoy the taste? It was good taste? That was fascinating. We're talking with those guys, the way they talk about cannibalism, it wasn't some great ritual or we did it because we had to, we were starving. We kill someone in an act of revenge or to settle a dispute, and then they're dead, there's their body. Why waste valuable meat? But I want to look deeper into cannibalism's connection with sorcery and find out if it could still be going on in the jungles of Papua New Guinea. In the past, the Samo would eat the bodies of people killed for suspected sorcery. Cannibalism was a way to supplement their limited diet. Meat is still scarce today. My guide Benny invites me to join him for lunch. While waiting for the meal to cook, I ask about the Samo's belief in sorcery. I'm interested whether people still believe in witchcraft and its connection with cannibalism. So you say that you don't believe in the spirits?
No.
And this in this village,
No, we don't believe.
You don't believe
the spirits.
But does that kind of thing still go on in this area anywhere?
Yes, that type of thing is still going on in this area. Not this area.
Not this village?
Not this village, but we have Kwambi.
Kwambi?
And Kusobi, Testabi, all these villages maybe up to Biami side.
So witchcraft is alive. I want to know more about the Biami's belief in sorcery. I'm told about an elder on the outskirts of the village who can help.
Hi, are you Dafu? Hi, can I come up?
Dafu is one of Soriobi's arrow makers. He has extensive knowledge of the surrounding tribes.
People say Biami are fierce fighters, good warriors.
Yeah.
Is this true?
Yeah, that's true. If they fight, they kill anybody, or they just cut it and eat it on before. Yeah. But now, when they kill it, they just throw it to the water.
So now, are the Biami still killing people?
Killing the people.
Now?
Yeah.
Today?
This year, 2010, one of the Biami, they killed 2 men and they throw it to the water.
This is this year?
This year.
Okay.
They didn't eat it, but they just throw it to the water.
They didn't eat them.
They've
They've stopped eating, but they're still killing.
Yeah.
It's chilling to learn that in the vast unpoliced jungles of Papua New Guinea, men and women are still killed for suspected witchcraft. And if people are still killing sorcerers today, I wonder if they're still practicing cannibalism as well. Despite serious reservations, I want to meet the infamous Biami and learn about their connection with cannibalism. There's a place called Mugulu, which I've been told is in the heart of Biami territory, and it apparently has an airstrip safe enough to land on. So that's where I'm headed. As well as killing and eating suspected sorcerers, the Biami are rumoured to have hunted people purely as a source of food, making them once the most feared people of the western province. I arrive at an airstrip in the heart of Biami territory, the village of Mugulu. I want to seek out people that actually practiced cannibalism and find out if it still goes on. But first, I want to check whether the locals mind me asking questions about their reputation.
Is anyone here speak a little bit of English? This man? Hey, how do you do?
My name is Bobby.
Bobby. I just wanted to ask some questions about this area and the people who live here.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah? Is that okay? This is Biami territory, all Biami people here?
Yes.
Yeah. I have heard there are stories that the Biami are fierce warriors, good fighters. Is this true?
Yes.
The Biami, they used to hunt people.
Yes, we normally.
Can you tell me a story? How did it work? How did it happen?
We spear them and grab them and we bring it back to the home. And then we can cook it and then cut it up. Or cook it and cut it up, we can eat it.
I feel encouraged by the openness of the locals.
So he have tasted, he have tried, he have seen it, but he have seen it, and then he have tried. He ate it.
He tasted
Yeah,
human
but
meat?
he didn't go and fight.
Right. So let me get this straight. So human meat was brought back to his family and
Yeah,
he ate it?
He ate it.
Wow. So you distribute the human meat among
Human
the people?
flesh.
Human flesh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
But not now?
Not now.
That's good to know.
In the 1960s, the arrival of Kiaps and Christian missionaries had a considerable impact on the Biami way of life. The culture of killing and eating enemies was discouraged with the threat of imprisonment. Some traditions were deemed unhygienic, such as platform burials, a practice designed to protect the dead from evil spirits in the ground. Amazingly, there is one missionary who still spends much of his time here today. Tom Hoey and his wife Salome have lived among the Biami for nearly 40 years. I want to know if there's truth behind the rumors about the Biami's taste for human flesh.
Is it true that the Biami would actually go out and hunt humans purely because they wanted to eat human meat?
Right, yeah, that's exactly what it was, really.
Really? How do you know that?
But they'd hunt them, of course, at night, you know, when in the dead of night.
I mean, it wasn't just the men or just, you know, everybody, men, women and children used to join in the eating.
Do the Biami still practice cannibalism?
Not as far as I know, no. I think that the latest case of cannibalism I heard about was in 1993.
Well, that's the last one on the government books.
Yes, yes.
I get the feeling that they're not convinced cannibalism has come to an end.
Do you think that cannibalism could be going on out there still now?
Yes, I think it could possibly. Quite apart from cannibalism, there's plenty of killing has gone on, you know, and possibly still going on. But they are a little bit more inclined not to kill, to eat the person nowadays.
I want to find out from the locals what they know about past cannibal raids. I'm taken to meet one of the region's last great Biami fight leaders, Gegele. As a young man, Gegele spearheaded attacks on villages where suspected magic men were hiding.
아무도 말고 소리가 보다 아다리 아마리 메돌이 나니 볼 발가이 야후야 뭐 우리 저기다 메돌이 공을 가구리 뭘 메돌 메돌이 해도 파라 아고스 위 해도 파라 왜야 고시야 고시야
So that's easiest to walk a bit faster to the village.
Absolutely. It's easier to carry half a dead man than a whole dead man. What did you say to your men before going into battle?
아무다 와리 누 그 사람이 해야 주는데 그 사람이 해야 루다 뭐 와리 누 아무 매도움 걸려요.
So who is the song leader?
그 사람이 다도 디디양어 디디양어 해야로 매도라 못해 시야세 매도라
He tells that this is the man we go and fight.
So the man who tells the men who to go and fight is the song leader, and his name is what?
Didigawa.
Didigawa.
In this rare footage, the Biyami are performing a sing-sing to gain wisdom from the spirit world. This is when the man known as the song leader would seek the location of a suspected sorcerer and have them eaten. Apparently, there is one last song leader left in the region. His name's Tidikawa, and he lives just over the horizon. I'm heading into the jungle to a village where I'm hoping to meet a man called Tidikawa. The trek will take us southeast of Mogulu across some challenging terrain. The rivers of Papua New Guinea do contain crocodiles, but I'm assured there are few in this area. The jungle is home to some of the world's most venomous animals. This 6-inch wood spider is not only harmless, but also edible.
We do eat them.
You eat them?
Yeah.
Tasty.
It tastes nice.
It tastes nice.
When the government patrols explored the area in the 1960s, treks would often last a number of weeks, with many porters needed to carry supplies. Their progress would slow when passing through cannibal country, as often the porters refused to go on, fearing an ambush. Trekking in the jungle is an extremely tiring business. The climate is sometimes known as 90-90, simply because it's 90 degrees heat and 90% humidity.
This is just a half-day trek. I cannot imagine what it was like for those Kiap patrol officers patrolling for days or weeks on end, and they had the possibility that they were walking into an ambush.
The hired porters had good reason to fear. Ambushes often took place on the trails between villages.
That whooping noise that they're making is apparently the noise you make when you are approaching a village to let them know that there are visitors coming and that they are friendly.
As I enter one of the most remote villages in the world, I'm nervous about how they may react to me.
I was scared walking up that hill, but I'm told this is welcoming and they are happy to see us.
I'm ushered towards the village longhouse where I'm hoping to finally meet Tidikawa.
Is it okay to go in? This is quite a welcome. I don't think I was expecting this. Hello. Daya Defia.
You're Tidikawa?
Yes.
Ah, it's good to meet you. Good to meet you.
I get the feeling that the warriors have been lined up for inspection, as if I was some kind of foreign dignitary.
Do you dress this way, like this? Do you dress like this all the time, or just today, or when?
I have one to visit us, the normally shows their cultural way.
Okay, so they wanted to show the culture way to us.
Yeah.
Could you say thank you? I really appreciate seeing this amazing sight.
Now that I've finally met Tidikawa, one of the last Biami song leaders, I want to find out how he was involved in cannibalism.
Tidikawa, can you tell me, how do you cut up a human?
Nighttime in the village of Negadai. I want to learn more about the Biami's cannibalistic past, but for now, I'm content to just enjoy the evening's festivities. Initiation dances were once an important part of Biami culture. They still perform the dances today, but more out of nostalgia than ceremony.
The guy with the burning brand is called the funny man, and his job is to drip burning tree sap onto the dancers to make them laugh. Yeah. To make them laugh.
In the morning, I want to find out how the Biami cooked and ate their victims. I want to find out from Negadai's elders whether they recall hunting people for meat. But my arrival has prompted a welcome feast, and the village is busy with preparations. I'm rather humbled to learn that they will be sacrificing one of their valuable pigs for the feast.
They've selected which pig they're going to kill today for the feast, and it's that unlucky pig's turn, and they're distracting it with bits of food. I think this is the pig's last meal. Everyone's gathering around now because this is tonight's meal, and they don't often get to eat meat, so everyone's very excited, and including the dogs, who are starting to eat the blood.
Tidikawa, the tribe's old song leader, has the honor of butchering the pig. I'm impressed with the skill with which he carefully dissects the pig, using only basic bush tools. If I'm to take part in the feast, I feel I need to help with the preparation.
Tidikawa, is it okay if I try the knife? Try? Thank you.
Once, the Biami used these same bamboo knives to cut up human victims.
All the way down. So, I've never used a bamboo knife before, but this is really effective. He's still very warm in here, and it smells like a dead pig.
And we need a new knife. Fresh knife. So these bamboo knives, they only work for a while. Okay, new blade, thank you. Defeer. We got a new blade on the edge. Take a new edge off, just strip a little bit off and it's sharp again. Down there. This is good, Defeer? Okay. And this bit? This is good, Defeer? This is pretty bloody work and it doesn't smell too good. I can't imagine doing this to a human. It's just, the mind boggles. But I suppose I'd get used to it eventually. And if I was hungry enough. Down there? Defeer? Tidikawa, can you tell me, how do you cut up a human? Does human meat cut easily with bamboo? Is it harder or same as pig? So it's about the same as butchering a human. Use the same knives, cuts easy, then you take it home and eat it.
Cooking techniques amongst the Biami have remained the same for centuries.
I've just cut this out of a pig. And in the old days, they say, we would have been cutting this out of a human.
They cook the pig meat exactly how they cooked human meat in the past. To begin with, they place the limbs on an open fire.
Right now, we're just searing the meat to seal the juices in, I guess. And when the flames come up a bit, we're going to singe off all of the hair from the rest of the carcass.
While the men prepare the meat, the women prepare the vegetables, in this case sweet potatoes and yams. The Biami traditionally build an oven called a mumu, which starts with a pit filled with red-hot rocks. The vegetables and seared flesh is placed on top of the rocks.
At the moment, we are getting like a pork sauna from the steam, but in 30 minutes, we will have good food to eat. And I'm looking forward to it.
Sharing food with other villages, whether human meat or just pig meat like this, has always been an important part of strengthening alliances.
I've just been given a choice cut, and this is the first bit of meat that anyone's eating, so I feel really honoured. Defeer. Defeer. Oh, that's good. I feel like I've earned this. I've helped cut it up. I've joined in making a mumu, hot rocks all over the place. Burnt my fingers, and now I'm reaping the reward. This is look at the beautiful chunk of meat. This is really precious. I'm really honoured. And God, it tastes good.
Nothing goes to waste when they kill something as valuable as a pig. It feels like a good time to ask more about their cannibalistic past.
Have you eaten human meat? Did it taste as good as pig?
Kepu hitan ko ayuan. Similar to the keep. Na mai. Na ko nyalo na ko ilbo na dam the kepu nya ber dal mai. Tu me hu nya yin. Na the kepu ero digri mai.
Afan mai. Ye di fa la se. Tu ka fa la se. Ma to fa mai. Tu ka fa. Tu ka.
So he's eaten one man
One man,
and one woman.
one woman.
Is there any difference between the taste of a man and a woman?
Pela de fele.
Did anyone ever eat a white man?
Na tai tu ni ya hame to la. Ili de gutta fa na tai tu hame to la.
Okay, so you've never seen a white man, so you didn't have the opportunity of eating a white man. That's fair enough.
I've already learnt that other tribes in Papua New Guinea practiced cannibalism on suspected sorcerers. I'm curious as to whether the Biami's motivations are the same.
Could I ask you, why did you eat human meat? What was the reason?
Amada ni mo ta fa mai. Ko ber mai iria. Amaya ya mo ta be ni ya se fa.
How about the man he ate? What was the reason there?
Tu no mai mera. Ya ha be mai. Wa mu ni mo ta wa mu mi si ni da. Tu no ma fa na da ha be dai ma. Ha be dai da. Ma ga no mo na ni da. Ama fi ki.
So sorcery.
Sorcery, yes.
Sorcery.
That's right.
And did anyone ever eat in the old days? Did anyone ever eat just because they wanted meat? Did they ever hunt and kill someone just for meat? It's either because of payback, revenge, or because of sorcery, because a magic man has caused someone to die, so the magic man must die.
That's right.
But never just because of hunger.
Actually, yeah.
Never just because of hunger.
No.
Despite claims that the Biami would eat humans purely for their meat, nobody here will admit to it. I wonder whether killing people just for the meat is seen as somehow crossing a line, something this generation does not want to be associated with.
What's strange is that after a few weeks out here, I'm starting to think of cannibalism as something normal, because for them it was. If I had grown up here and was in this culture, I certainly would have joined in. And therefore, I can really see that if you're hungry and you eat other meat, human meat is meat. But I can't quite get out of my head that sense of the cutting up of a human body is like a psychopathic murder scene, because that's what it is in my culture. So I don't think I could have done that.
The arrival of Christian missionaries helped play a part in the decline of cannibalism amongst the Biami.
It's just after 6 in the morning, and the pastor has blown his horn, and that's the signal, I'm told, for most of the village to go to church.
The original Biami belief system involved worshipping the spirits of ancestors. Today, over 90% of Papua New Guinea's population are members of a Christian church.
It's kind of strange seeing a Christian church service after having seen all of these people dressed in traditional war paint and holding all their bows and arrows, and then in the mix is Christianity. Odd. Very odd.
Christian missionaries are often accused of destroying cultural identities, and they've clearly had an impact here. Pastor Dawe wasn't always a Christian. I'm interested in how important he feels Christianity is to the Biami in this region.
What do you think would happen here in this village if Christianity disappeared in the future? What would happen?
Ma kod se olele se visita wa mni da asmta wa hada wa mni da asmta kala amma todi na amma kod se mo olele ale pe amma ka pu wa mni da asmta kod bele ta fond kod pa mo se pe tanga yodisa.
That's amazing. I've just been to a church service led by a man who has eaten human meat. And what a journey he's been on, and now he's a pastor. And he's absolutely convinced that if he stops preaching and Christianity disappears from this area, that cannibalism and fighting and all the dark old bad days will come back.
It's the Biami themselves who sometimes refer to the past as the dark old days, the days when there was much fear of witchcraft. During Sing Sings, the song leader would claim to identify a suspected sorcerer. This would lead to the accused being killed and eaten. The arrival of Christian missionaries in Papua New Guinea may have helped bring cannibalism to an end, but they did not bring an end to the killing of suspected magic men. Before I leave Negaday, I want to find out if song leader Tidikawa is still able to identify sorcerers. But when I find him, I learn he's become ill with malaria.
He's really not well at all, and he's flat out, and he's running quite a high fever. So, is he okay? He's been sweating all night, and he hasn't got much sleep, but he's very kindly agreed to come out and talk about the old days and what goes on at a Sing Sing.
First, I want to know exactly how Tidikawa identified sorcerers, something that led to their cannibalization.
Could I ask, can you describe to me what happens for you in the Sing Sing? Did it become difficult to do Sing Sings and difficult to heal people? Or what changed when the missionaries arrived?
With no one to join his Sing Sings, Tidikawa has lost his connection with the spirit world.
When was the last time you saw your spirit guide, the lady?
Tidikawa is no longer able to identify sorcerers. I'm interested if he believes the Biami could ever go back to practicing cannibalism.
Thank you. Sleep well.
Despite there still being some fear of sorcery in the areas I've visited, cannibalism appears to be long in the past. As for finding communities even deeper in the jungles of Papua New Guinea, which still eat human meat, that's another journey.